Welcome and thank you for joining. Let's take a look at simplifying a rational expression. In this case, we have both subtraction and addition in the same expression. So let's get started. First step, factor the denominators. So we have 3x over x squared plus 3x plus 2. With the denominator in factored form, we'll turn it into 3x over x plus 2 times x plus 1. And then minus 4x in the numerator and the denominator in factored form. Remember, this is a simple trinomial to factor. X squared plus 5x plus 6. So two numbers that multiply to positive 6. And in the meantime, add to positive 5. And lastly, we have plus 5x divided by the factored form of x squared plus 4x plus 3, which is x plus 3, x plus 1. Again, two numbers that multiply to 3, and in the meantime, add to a positive 4. So next, we'll state the lowest common denominator, because we cannot add and subtract fractions or rational terms that contain different denominators. So the lowest common denominator would be equal to x plus 2 times x plus 1. And then we have x plus 3, that's a factor we didn't have before. X plus 2 is a factor that we had in the previous denominator, so we don't have to list it again. X plus 3 is a factor that we've already listed from the second denominator. And so is x plus 1, a factor that we have had from the previous denominator. So that would be our lowest common denominator. And while we're at it, let's state the restrictions. So the restrictions would be any factor or every factor in the denominator has to be different than 0, which means x plus 2 is different than 0, x different than negative 2, x plus 1 different than 0, x different than negative 1, and x plus 3 different than 0, which means x has to be different than negative 3. Next, our job would be to make all the denominators the same as the lowest common denominator. So first, I like to write the expression and leave a little bit of room in each rational term so that I can modify the denominators. So here we have x plus 2 and x plus 1. So we have x plus 2 and x plus 1. And we're missing x plus 3, which means that the denominator will need an x plus 3. And so will the numerator the numerator multiplied by x plus 3. So multiply both numerator and denominator by x plus 3. In the next rational term, we have x plus 3 and x plus 2. So we have these two. We're missing x plus 1. So we multiply numerator and denominator by x plus 1. And lastly, we have x plus 3 and x plus 1 present in the denominator. We're going to need to bring in x plus 2. So we multiply both numerator and denominator by x plus 2. As you can see now, all the denominators are the same, which means that we can bring the entire rational expression under the same denominator. And while we bring all the terms under the same denominator, we try to expand the terms in the numerator. So 3x times x plus 3 will give 3x squared plus 9x. And then we have minus 4x times x minus 4x squared. Minus 4x times 1, negative 4x. Next we have 5x times x, 5x squared, and 5x times 2 is 10x. Now one thing I want to emphasize, and we've emphasized this multiple times in class, when the minus is in front of the fraction, it means that this monomial factor here has a negative sign, and minus 4x will multiply x, minus 4x will multiply 1, and that's where we get the two negative terms in this case. So next we are going to clean up the expression in the numerator. So let's see what this turns into. We're going to collect like terms first. And this is a step that you can take, or you can just simply simplify like terms by highlighting them, whichever method works for you. So I group them in this case. So we have 3x squared minus 4x squared plus 5x squared. Here are all our x squared terms. And then we have 9x minus 4x plus 10x grouped together. And then everything will be under the denominator x plus 3, x plus 2, x plus 1. So next we will want to simplify the numerator a little bit more. And we have 3x squared plus 4 minus 4x squared plus 5x squared equal to, to 4x squared. And then 9 minus 4, 5 plus 10 is 15. And again, everything under the denominator x plus 3, x plus 2, and x plus 1. Remember that the answers when simplifying rational expressions have to be in the most simplified and factored form. And the reason why we want to have the final answer in factored form as well is because we want to double check, we want to check and see if we have any common factor between numerator and denominator, so that if possible, we could further simplify the entire rational expression. So I see that there is a common factor of x in here. So we'll take out x, and then in brackets we'll have 4x. Remember that one power of x is outside, one is in, and this x is outside, so we have just 15 inside the brackets, and the denominator will remain the same. So we're going to say that the final answer is x times 4x plus 15 divided by x plus 3, x plus 2, x plus 1, under the condition that x cannot equal -2 or -1 or -3. Thank you for learning with me. Bye for now.